Shawana Brooks, I can't believe I actually am sitting here talking with you finally. Do you know how long I've waited for this moment?
Well,
I've
here
been
I
trying
am.
to get you to sit and talk with me about all the beautiful and wonderful things that you do. So I want you to start by just telling us a little bit about who you are, and because I want people to really kind of get to understand why I'm so fascinated.
Okay. Well, I guess first and foremost, that kind of goes back to my relationship with my husband, who is a visual artist. So I like to just say I'm a wife of a visual artist, but I think through the work that he did over the years, I saw
Tell everyone who your husband is.
My husband's name is Roosevelt Watson III. He's a great visual artist here in Northeast Florida, but also regionally and sometimes internationally. Right. He's shown his work. And I just really got plugged into like his plight. One, his plight to get resources, to be adequately funded by organizations who wanted to work with him, and also to be funded correctly around the projects and opportunities that he was giving himself. So, you know, we kind of had a moment where we just kind of came together, and I was thinking, like, you know, as a writer, what can I do to support his services? And we just really saw the connection between writing and visual art. Wow. And that kind of took off from there, where I started to do different shows around the community. And so then the library, City of Jacksonville, got kind of enraptured by what I was doing and offered me the opportunity to be the first curator of the main public library. And this was me coming from not a curatorial background. So I really understood what it was to work with different nonprofits and different programs and other, I call them entrepreneurs, and really taking their work and trying to create a community gallery and programming. And then against COVID hit, you know, I decided to leave that job to maybe try to go and look for another one that was more my style. And then the director of the Jesse Ball DuPont Center, who is Mark Walker, came to me with this opportunity because they were working with Art Republic to do more work outside of the building, but he wanted to bring that same influx inside. And I guess he had already kind of heard of me and my reputation. And so we had a meeting, and he was like, I don't have any idea of what I want you to do. I just know I want to give you an opportunity to do something. And I saw that they had this beautiful space downstairs on the first floor that was pretty much empty, and that was kind of all windows. And I had the opportunity to see a few art exhibitions that they tried to create around there. But I just thought, if I got a hold of the space, I could kind of transform it. And then I pitched to them a proposal, and they so graciously accepted that proposal. And I have now been the executive director over the Moving the Margins Artists in Residence program for over a year now, where we have shown 4 artists in this gallery that we have created called the Corner Gallery, and just to work with different nonprofits and around the community to keep doing placemaking and equity programming.
I get to see it when I walk in the building. It's beautiful.
I know.
It's just, always fascinating, the work that's there. I'm going to say this because, like I said, I've been trying to have a conversation with you for the longest, on this type of platform. Right. And one of the reasons why is my queen is Miss Lydia Stewart.
Oh yeah, we got to give it up to Miss Stewart. She is such a mentor of mine too.
So we have our, Lydia and I go way back. When we have our, today, even now, we have our sip and chat sessions. Yeah. And we often talk about you and the work that you're doing, and how much she trusts, your eye and your ability to curate work from this community. And so it's just such a pleasure to have you here, because my experience, now I think I shared this with you, I started out as an artist, a visual artist, and my experience has been that this has been really underrepresented and underappreciated Black artists in this community, right? And to have an ally like yourself, who is able to not only to see, but also advocate and convince, people across the community that this is important, and we have important people doing important work. It is really an asset to have you here to do this. We didn't have that when I was doing art in the 80s. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of every man for himself. So
it's still a little bit. It is. I really got to. I always, when I talk well, not because I didn't this time, but when I normally talk about my work, I talk about the importance of how I really got inspired by Lydia and by Adonica Toller, who worked over at the Ritz. And again, understanding Miss Lydia and knowing her story is so kind of crossways to mine, because she also didn't have like a art history degree or anything, and just wanted to be able to create an opportunity to showcase Black artists. And so much of that was instilled in me in seeing her work, and I just thought, again, sometimes the times are what they are, where I was able to bring that to the city of Jacksonville and have them Malay a community gallery that really did look to represent BIPOC artists first in that programming, and just in that work that has kind of transfixed and transformed me into really just being this strong artist advocate to say that artists, one, need to be paid appropriately, not just for putting their work up on the walls, but also for their process, right? Like, how do they create, how do they ideate their work? When we think they're just sitting around just doing nothing, but that's a part of their process for them to get those ideas going, especially these big ideas. And so often Black artists are already dealing with social justice in such a big way. And then when they get ready to go into these institutions that are supposed to be supporting all artists, then they're fragmented by their choices, and they say, oh, well, we didn't want to show it this way, or we didn't want to talk about it this way. And this is, again, what I love about the Jessie Paul DuPont Center entrusting me to bring in these artists. The first thing that the director told me is that, like, we're not going to censor you. We're not going to censor you around the shows. We're not going to censor you around the topics. But having that freedom sometimes is so scary, because you've never had it before, that I don't even think I understand the biggest platform that we have. Or even when I give artists these opportunities, they're so shocked by that they don't even know what to do, and they don't maybe take as big advantage as we could. They're like, stick it to the people.
Artists, they're still like probably
they want to work.
They're feeling excluded.
Correct.
Right? Because I was on the very first Art and Public Places Commission. Right, and we were charged with public art around the city of Jacksonville. And some of the main pieces that we were supposed to be selecting for some of these important spots, Black artists were excluded from those places. From the calls and the RFPs. And the only place that we got a chance to sort of dedicate art for Black artists support was at the Ritz. And we took the time and did that. But before that, it's been all about exclusion, and now to see people be able to breathe a little bit, right? And lean into what they do and not have to worry about what people believe and think about their work. And so who are some of the people who you say we need to keep our eye on around here locally?
Oh man, there are some great people. One of the people who I'm eventually wanting to work with and have the opportunity to show in the gallery is a young artist named Jared Walker. Jared worked as an assistant with me on my Color Jacks Blue project when I did a mural off of 18th and Myrtle. Because again, we wanted to be able to bring art, because that community again was a cultural desert, right? Just like you said, those public art projects aren't looking to our communities in neighborhoods when they first want to place these big art projects and give, again, international artists the ability to do the call. So I got together a group of local artists that I knew who just needed a chance to, it's such a double-edged sword. They don't want to let you do it because you've never done it before, but you can't do it because you ain't never done it before. So I gave them the chance to create 3 public murals around this building that's been a community staple for a while. But Jared Walker has so impressed me with the way he kind of took charge of leading the assistants and just his work. And so I got him introduced to then the public art director, where they were doing this kind of musical project that's down, I think, Forsyth Street, where they featured different musical representations of people, and got him a chance to do it wasn't even a mural, just like a small kind of art piece. And since then, I have been really watching him, and I gave him an opportunity to be one of the artists to kind of create on like an art walk night that we had, and doing live painting and artistry, and which gave him a chance to sell his work and to talk about why the work is so important. So I think he's incredible. I think Maya Elaine is amazing. She's been getting different mural opportunities in the community. She also worked with the Science Academy to do this really huge, large mural. But again, I a lot of times those artists aren't just able to create freely because commissioners are coming already with a thought and a purpose to what their work is. And I think Christopher Clark has been doing amazing things since he's been introduced. He came from Tallahassee, but he's now integrated into the Jacksonville community, and he's been working really hard. And still some of the same artists that have been creating for 10, 15 years aren't household names in our community. They might be like, in the art folks around, but not just in every household. So I'm still trying to think of the abilities to create opportunities for people to come and buy and support work, because we still don't have a lot of galleries anywhere, especially not in downtown Jacksonville. So for people to understand how art enlivens their space, but just you're taking a piece of that artist home with you. So those are a few of the artists that I think are doing exemplary work.
I'm curious to also know, where are these artists coming from? I know that my experience through the creative area with music, where my son went to DA, he had a little jazz band, and there were the kids were before him and after him are artists that have grown. They are playing internationally. We have a lot of homegrown talent here.
We do,
through music, especially in that jazz genre.
Yeah,
and I know that that's probably the same for visual artists and creators. Where are they coming from? Are they coming from Douglas Anderson and those schools like that, or are they migrating to Jacksonville from different places? I
think a lot of great art is coming from Douglas Anderson. Douglas Anderson, again, continues to be one of the great art, educational systems in our country, right? So, but there's still, different from jazz musicians, there's normally a circuit that kind of takes care of them, that allows them to play in different venues and hosts, where you're not going to get that for visual art producers. There aren't a lot of galleries or museums, or again, they're still stifled off in a way that those artists don't get to participate or exhibit their work. So that's the challenge, I think, with visual artists, and giving them more opportunities to show and express their work, so that people can get more acknowledged to them, or recognizing their work, or giving them chance. So definitely, again, what I love about DA students is, even though the opportunity might not be there or exist, they'll find a way to make it, or they'll work collaboratively. Right. They'll work collaboratively with each other, and they're going to be like, we're going to put on a show in somebody, living room, and then make it happen. And then that's a phenomenal show. But we still need the staples of what, that, again, residencies. This is why I wanted to create a residency here, because I knew there was no residency that was honoring especially Black artists or creatives. So that's important for them to have on their resume, that I was in this residency, or, I got a chance to exhibit my art here. The same thing is why I created the gallery at the library, because I wanted to be able to give them a resume marker. Like, I showed my work in this library, and so then you can go on and show your work in this other library, and this other library, giving them a circuit of communication. But then there's still that challenge of the resources, because people always want to, work with visual artists and want to say, hey, man, this be great exposure for you. But exposure don't pay our bills. Exposure don't pay no bills. So, beyond giving them opportunities, I tried to then kind of work as an intermediary, almost like a manager of sorts, to say, okay, well, you want to show this artist's work for 2-3 months, well, you have to pay them this amount of money for them showing their work.
So you have a vision for what you see, how you think you can grow this creative community here. What is it that you need in order to fulfill that hope? Again, show me the money. I'm Jerry Maguire around here. Resources are so much of the thing. I mean, the creation of the artist residency program offers me the ability to pay those artists to be a part of that residency program, because I'm still not certain or sure that someone's going to come in and buy the work, right? So knowing that we're still not a community yet that appreciates artists and original artwork. Do you see the need, or do you have a visualization of maybe perhaps a a location, maybe a Black-led museum or creator space that, there's a centerpiece of this community?
I always would love to partner up with the Ritz. I think, again, the Ritz is still, our main resource of Black cultural energy, as it should be. But it should be, again, not just this one little minor floor that can hold 20, 30 pieces. We need several different floors to be able to show this work. Or again, holding one exhibition like Through Our Eyes for almost 8 months out of the year, when artists need to be shown every day of every month. So I'm hoping that, as I'm working in this tiny little space, that eventually somebody will say, hey, Shawana, we need to get you a gallery. We need to get you a museum, or just, more space to be able to provide and work with more diverse artists of our community. Because Jacksonville, again, you said it yourself, has some of the most world-class artists that go on to produce in other cities and areas, but can't seem to get what they need to work in Jacksonville. So I need resources to pay these artists to keep them here. Right? So that they're not wanting to leave for every other exponential activity. Or it's good to go and experience things and learn, but to have them come back home.
Well, I know that as long as you're on the case, it's going to happen. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Well, I thank you for that, Charles.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being here. I thank you for having a conversation. It's been, I've been trying. I've been trying. Call you on the phone, text you, it's like, we gonna do it, we gonna do it,
we gonna get it.
Bam, we just did it.
We did it, and I hope we do it again.
We will. And what I'm gonna do is we're gonna come out to the space and see some stuff.
Definitely. I'm gonna make sure to invite you to these openings. We got an opening coming up this month, and then our next opening will be in November, and then the following opening after that will be in February, and that's kind of the way I do all the exhibits. It kind of keeps the same guideline.
And then we got to have a moment of Zen when we get down with Queen Lydia together.
Yes. I would love to be in conversation with Lydia. All the things you can learn just from sitting amongst her is so great.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.